Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the Scream Scene. I'm Jody Dean. Tonight, I got a special treat for you guys. I got one of my great friends here with me, Omar Gosh. You may know him. I'm sure you know him from YouTube, but if you don't, this guy is a legend on the platform. He's done some amazing things. One of his main channel, 4,044,000 something subscribers, almost a billion views. Actually, that's probably a lie. I'm sure he's probably at a billion. Or he's got like 745 million views on his main channel, and then he's got a vlog channel that's just done crazy things. But when you're talking those kind of numbers, you've definitely left quite the mark on a social media platform. Great guy. Love him to death. Been great friends for years now, and he should have been one of the first people on the show, but he's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Omar Gosh, what's going on, bud?
Yo, what is up, my bro? Thank you for that warm welcome here on the channel. And dang, like when you were like speaking those numbers, I'm like, when I started that channel, it was just kind of like videos with my kids, videos with my family and stuff. And I man, even like 700, even like a million, like to be seen a million times. And it's like, I don't know, that's just insane. Like I would have never thought I would have even got like 100 subscribers. So it's like, damn, that's awesome.
Dude, it's really impressive. It's inspiring. Especially since I kind of came in right around. I think I came in and watched you probably right after the first big blow up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Became a fan, a supporter. Ran into
Thanks,
you
bro.
one day. You came into a store that I had, a game
The
store
flea
at the
market.
time. Yeah, it was at
Mhm.
the flea market, and you were vlogging, and you were like, "Hey, can I do some
Still
vlogging
got
here?" And
that
I was like,
video up
"Yeah,
too.
bro." One thing is like when you see somebody on the internet, on YouTube especially, and then you run into them in real life. A lot of my experiences are they're not the same person. But I ran into you. You
Same.
were very kind on camera, off camera, and I was just like, "Wow, I like this guy even more now." And it would be a few years before we started like
You're gonna make me
having the
blush,
opportunity
bro.
to hang out. But when we finally started hanging out, we hit it off. And yeah, man. Well, here's the thing, dude. Um, I've seen so many people on this platform, but you put a lot of effort into your videos. I mean, where did that come from? That production quality, bro? Have you always cared about making things look so cinematic and putting so much heart into them, or is that something that just came later on?
It's kind of like it's just a transition, like an evolution of starting out. I remember my very first editing software. It was like something that you get like at Comp USA. I don't know if you remember those
I
stores
remember
where
that.
they used to sell like TVs. It was kind of like a Circuit City or Best Buy at the time, and it was like the crappiest software you could think of. And when my kids were little, I would like edit these little videos of them and stuff. I was that dad that would always record everything. And I mean, I had like the crappiest camera, those T-Mobile Sidekick phones. I
I
mean, it's
remember.
just like it was HD, horrible definition. And I would record everything. And I still have a lot of those videos. And it started like that. And then, of course, even before YouTube came, I would do these plays. I've never actually mentioned this at all. You could title your video that, like
That's awesome,
Omar
dude.
reveals his deep down secret. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not tooting my own horn or anything. But no, like I started out on, Windows Movie Maker when that came out. It was like a free
Oh yeah.
editing software, and I would edit for my church. And I would do plays like dramas. It was like terrible qualities. I had crappy cameras. And then I remember jumping on YouTube one day and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a nice good camera. I got like this Canon, like just it was a digital, was it a digital Canon? Uh, Maybe it was. I can't remember. And then I had that little flip camera. It was like the little camera that was like that, and it was terrible quality, but it was like the first small camera that ever came out, and it was popular amongst YouTubers. You can look it up. It's called the Flip. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start making some videos on YouTube just for fun. I'm gonna do skits with my kids, and it just the editing just got better. I have this kind of like pickiness for I've always been that way, like with Print Shop. I don't know if you remember when Print Shop was out. That's like before
Yeah,
Photoshop.
you're throwing down some old school stuff here. I
Yeah,
started on the
dude.
same stuff though, so yeah,
Did
much
you?
respect. Yeah, for
So I
sure.
mean, like doing that stuff and like graphic designing, it kind of goes hand in hand with video editing. But and this is one of the reasons why Jody's one of my favorite people ever. Music, bro. Editing music, it was just like it was kind of like hand in hand with editing videos. It was like, okay, when you're editing music on a computer, you're editing tracks of
Mhm.
audio that you can listen to. When you're editing video, it's very similar, laid out kind of the same way, but it's visual.
Yeah.
So remember Cakewalk? That's the program I used to use when I would edit music and stuff.
Dude, this is a
Yeah,
walk down memory lane. I
it is.
remember Cakewalk. I had Cakewalk. I had Windows Movie Maker.
Dude, that was the shit back then.
What's crazy about this now is I was expecting you to tell me like, "Yo, I picked up a camera when I was a kid. I went to school," because
Nah.
I knew you were self-taught at a lot of things, but that's one thing I don't know if that's a conversation we ever got into. I was like, I do remember in the beginning, before the paranormal, and we're gonna jump into that, but before the paranormal, I remember videos were more vlog style, but once you started like doing the paranormal stuff, and as your channel was just really I noticed the production quality, and as this channel being about like filmmakers and horror and stuff like that, I just really respect it always, dude. Most of your videos look like they belong on TV rather than for free on a social media platform.
Hey guys, the only reason why Jody says this, and don't let him fool you. This
I've
guy
always
is
told
a
you this.
he's a production guru himself. Like this guy, this is why me and him connect so well. But I mean, he was making movies and shit before YouTube ever came out. And like that's one of the reasons like I was like, man, this guy, like what? He's been making movies. And but yeah, I mean, it was just something that just you kind of are self-taught. Like I think some of the best horror, I mean, not just horror flick production guys that do cinematics, like cinematography and producers, and even like people that create the stories, of course, too, like the film writers. But I think a lot of them didn't go to school. They just kind of
Right.
stumbled across this. I mean, maybe some of them did. I think school is good for networking, but most of the time, like these people are just really passionate about what they want to do. And I mean,
Facts.
that's what it comes down to. Of course, back in the day before YouTube came out and you're like learning stuff, you really have to be self-taught because
Right.
there's no do you remember those days, bro, when there wasn't I mean, think back. We're a very unique generation, you and I, millennials,
Absolutely.
because we were in the generation where we played outside, but we were still slowly being introduced to video games and we
Yeah.
were slowly being introduced to computers and stuff. So we had the best of both worlds. However, we appreciate computers, we appreciate the digital stuff. We're very techy, but at the
Yeah.
same time, there was a time where we didn't have that and we had to learn shit on our own when it came to production, when it came to something as simple as doing plumbing in your house that now you can go to the internet and find out. So I
Right.
mean, that's kind of it's kind of cool that we can teach ourselves, but I think it's much easier now. I mean, anybody can pick up a camera. I mean, we can pick up our phones now and do something super cinematic, but it's really all about having that eye. And I'll be honest with you, bro, and I don't know if you maybe feel the same way, but I almost regret doing super like because I would always try to like I don't know if you do this sometimes, but you'll film a video and like it's awesome. It does really well. People love it, and then you're like, okay, how do I make it better? And how
Mhm.
do I outdo myself? Because like you don't want to take 10 steps forward and then take 10 steps back. You want to just keep evolving and becoming
Yeah.
better and better and better. And I think honestly that was for YouTube. Not that it was a bad thing, but I carried this chip on my shoulder that I had to make things perfect, and it
Right.
almost burns you out after a while. I know that you've experienced that sometimes, and where you're just like, maybe overly editing a video or overly filming, and it's like it looks good, but to be honest, I don't think very many people there people appreciate it, but I think somebody like you that's in production work, I mean, that's why like I can look at your videos and be like, damn, like he put some extra thought into that scene right there. I mean, I do that all the time when I watch it, but to the average person, do you think? I mean, like I don't even look at movies the same way. Are you the same way too?
Yeah,
Like you'll watch a movie and be like how did they get that shot? Like I think to myself, I'm
definitely.
like how did they do that? And then
I've
you
spent my
think to
life
yourself,
doing that, dude, and that's why
yeah,
whenever I've seen your stuff, I'm like, he's picked these tricks up. I I get it. Trial and error, man, really makes the best anything filmmakers,
mhm,
artists. But you said it earlier, with the whole music thing, we both come from doing music production. When you're in music, you want to have a music video, you want to do this and that. So it already kind of has the gears turning to where you're like, I need to learn how to do this because I mean, it's not like we came from an absurd amount of money or people that have money. Like we were at the bottom. So we were kind of like, okay, we need to learn how to do this so we don't have to count on other people. Because when you
mhm.
have to count on people, bro, you have to drag your feet at their pace and maybe you'll never get there at all. So it's kind of like you learn everything, you learn to be the best. And you just said, man, you overly, you want to go 10 steps above. I've watched your videos. I can literally say I don't think you can do that, man. And this isn't like no kiss ass shit, because there's interviews out there I've done and videos out there where I've mentioned this about you.
Oh, thanks,
And
bro.
there were interviews about like me or somebody else or something. So it's something that I think everybody notices. But coming from music, I mean, that definitely had to play a big part and help you get
Oh, big
to,
time.
at least help right along the way to get where you're at.
Big time. Yeah. And I mean, it's just like I was real big on I mean, I don't know if you were similar, but I was infatuated with seeing videos of like my childhood when I was a kid. Like my parents would record us like at Disney World or something like that, or me like at a baseball game with like my family, or Christmas where we're opening up presents and stuff. And my dad, like he had one of those big ass like camcorder that
Yeah,
filmed on those big tapes. It was like terrible quality, but it wasn't like a lot of videos. But I remember how much I still have some of those videos of me like as a little kid. I mean, it's not a whole lot of content, but like it was so infatuating to me to be able to, when I was older, look back and be like, damn, like I remember, like it's almost
that
like those
inspired.
memories are imprinted.
Right.
And after you see that, it inspires you. And I mean, me as a dad, when I was a very young dad, I started having kids when I was like in my early 20s. And I remember in the back of my mind, I was like, man, you know what? How cool would it be to film a lot of my, and this is way before YouTube. Like YouTube came, I think, in 2005. I didn't start a YouTube channel till 2007 for my church. I still got some videos from my church that I don't even, I'm like kind of embarrassed because they're terrible. But I mean, I started an actual YouTube channel for myself in 2011. But I mean, before YouTube, I was filming stuff for my like I have all these videos of my kids and they loved it. I would put the videos on when they'd be just like doing nothing or annoying me, and they would literally like watch themselves at SeaWorld, and it was like cool memories for them because they get to relive those memories. Like when we're kids, like especially when we're older, a lot of our memories are blurs. Like we might remember things here and there, but you pop in an old tape of you at Disney World, it's gonna bring back those memories, and it's almost like a rehearsal. And I wanted that for my kids, so I was always recording. So
That's
that
awesome.
kinda it gave me a little jump start into YouTube, and when I got into YouTube, of course, like hardcore in 2011, I already knew how to edit. I started on this program called Sony Vegas. I don't know if you
Hmm.
remember. That was like my first serious editing software, and it was amazing. It was very intricate. There was barely any content about it on YouTube, but I do remember like if I had a problem with it, I would go on YouTube and I'm like, oh wow, somebody had that same problem, easy fix. So it kind of just progressed into that, and of course just got better. I mean, you when you're editing like thousands and thousands of videos, of course you're going to start being like, oh, okay, well, I could do this different and I can make this quality better. You're going to go through a shitload of different cameras. Like our cameras in our early YouTube career, I mean, they're garbage. We like, you know,
Yeah.
nowadays our phones film way better than the $1,000 cameras that we had back in the day.
4K, man. 4K.
Dude,
Any frame
insane.
rate you want almost. It's
People
freaking
always
crazy.
ask us, they're always
Yeah.
asking us, hey, Omar, hey, Jody, I'm starting a YouTube channel. What's the best camera that I can get? And you know what I tell them?
Get
The
a
camera
phone.
that is available, the camera that you're
Yeah.
going to use. Don't
Yeah.
waste thousands of dollars on this guy right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to tell you what, I only use this in here. This is a $3,000 camera with a $1,000 lens. I'm not going to take this and vlog with, oh, yeah, hey, guys. Or,
Right.
bro, I'm going to use this. Like,
Yeah.
this is, it's in my pocket. It's so convenient. So, you know,
Yep.
the camera
It's your
that is
studio on the
available is
go,
the best
man.
camera. And they're
Yeah.
so awesome nowadays. And they just get one day, bro, our iPhones are going to be like them $4,000 cameras. They're very close already.
Very, very
Very
close,
close.
bro. Yeah, the AI might be the only thing that's a little bit off at the moment, but that's even like, I mean, it's still brilliant, and it's only going up from here. But
Bro, I just had an epiphany. I don't know if that's what you call it, but you just mentioned AI, and you know how, for those who don't know, there's this software that you could run your audio through. Like, let's say you're vlogging and there's like a rainstorm behind you, or there's like a, I don't know, a fight going on and people screaming in the background.
Mhm.
It can literally take your voice and AI, you run it through the software. It's called Adobe Podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Okay,
And it'll
yeah,
make it sound like you're filming with a camera or a microphone like this. So
that's
who's not to
beautiful for the
say?
filmmakers that are watching this right now, because you guys know that we run
It's
into
so
these techie
cool.
problems. It's going to happen because you can never predict your sets and where you're going to film on what day and what lies ahead. So,
Yeah.
Adobe Podcast, you said.
It's called Adobe or Adobe. What's it called? Adobe Podcast, and it's
Okay.
free, totally
Well, that's a
free.
very important thing for people out there, because we all run into those wind issues.
Mhm.
And especially when you're shooting a movie, I've seen people that have had to work around that. I've had to work around that on 2 films now. That is a pain in the ass. It is so hard to clean up. So that's a little game
Mhm.
right there. That's some free
It's
game, some free
awesome.
knowledge.
It's not just wind though, too. Like you can like let's say you have your phone back
Yeah.
there and you're recording. You know how crappy that sounds if it's
Right.
recording your voice. You run it through this software and it would literally sound like you're right here, like
Oh, that's
picking up. I mean,
beautiful.
it's so clean. Mindseed told me about it when it first came out because it was just being beta tested. But anyways, let me get to my point because I had a point there. What if one day there's going to be a software where we can put our own old ass videos through this and AI literally cleans everything up and makes it
Mm.
perfect? Or,
Yeah,
oh, hey,
pixels,
you
sound.
want to add a monster in the background too in that scene? Oh, sure. Here you go. You want to clean up, you want to make your eyes green in that scene? Bam. It like literally
It's
just
coming.
that is our future, dude. Like it's scary, but it's cool at the same time because
It
this
is.
is
Yeah.
just getting easier and easier for people that maybe don't have the resources. I think there's always going to be creative people in any space, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, that can utilize these things. And I mean, look at how AI, like there's people, this is the future too. People are going to start making movies, but they're going to need somebody who is like an author, like somebody who can write the prompts properly to make
Right.
the AI make the movie perfect. I mean, this is, bro, we're in such an interesting future, you and I. Like
I
I'm
agree with you
excited.
100%. It is very exciting. Endless possibilities are coming. AI is pretty incredible. They've even got it now, man. I mean, you can go on chat, what is it, Chat GPT, whatever it is, and say, write me a script for a movie, and it will do it for you. Then I know
Write me a
somebody
kid's
that
book.
actually does this, that's a writer. They use that to write it, and then they go through and they clean it up and send it to the blog sites, and they get paid
Bro,
for it. It's crazy. Um
that's
But that
so
said,
sick.
you know, a lot's changed here since you started doing YouTube. Now we know what kind of inspired you, and it seems to me, man, like those videos you seen of your kids and seeing videos being made, it made you happy. So you ended up
Mhm.
doing it and giving it to the world, trying to make the world happy. And that's one thing I've always known about you, man, is you really do care. You care about your people and what you're putting out there. And if you didn't, you wouldn't be putting out high quality videos for free, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was all about just having fun, and a lot of it was the kids being like, "Hey, Dad, let's record," because always have the camera around. Like your kids are real comfortable in front of the camera. Like it's almost like they're excited when the camera turns on.
Yeah.
That was my kids, but I never forced them. Like especially in the YouTube thing, I never forced them to be videos or be. I never forced them to do anything. Like if they wanted to play football, they could play football. If they wanted to play football, but I wanted them to play baseball, I never made them play baseball. That's one thing that I will say, that there's some YouTubers out there that will force their kids to, like, almost, I don't know. You've seen it before on some of these family
I've
channels
seen it. I know
where
exactly what
they
you're talking
exploit
about.
their
It's
kids and
crazy.
stuff. Like I never
Yeah.
wanted to be, like that dad.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be a part of it if they're having fun.
Well,
That's why you, in the early videos, like you'll see them, but
mhm.
sometimes like you didn't see them because I never
Yeah.
forced them. If they wanted to be a part of it, you know what I mean? But
Well, what was it like for them and even you, man, like whenever you were doing the videos and it finally got some heavy traction, it was really, wasn't it? It was a life change. Was it life changing for like all of you guys?
well, I wouldn't say it's life changing, but it was definitely different because YouTube was very different back in when I started. And I mean, people think like, "Oh, wow, like the reason why you're so popular on YouTube is because you've been out a long time." And I tell people like, "No, it's the opposite. It's so much easier now to
Hmm.
be able to be seen." I mean, before it was just so hard, and plus YouTube was small at the time,
Right.
so it's a lot easier with like the YouTube shorts and stuff. But I mean, you might not believe this though, but it took me like maybe 2 years to get 100 subscribers, and it probably took me about 4 years to get 1,000. Like it was a
Wow.
very slow. And I mean, I had a lot of videos on YouTube. I
Hmm.
got some that are embarrassing that I put on private. Maybe I'll show an embarrassing video one day. But the one video I remember, like I was just getting like 50 views, 100 views, nothing crazy. But I was still posting because it was fun. I
Yeah.
wasn't. I didn't get a YouTube paycheck till after like 5 years. True story. And
Wow.
there was a couple reasons behind it. One of the reasons, I sucked and like my content wasn't the greatest. And I'll own up to that, but there's nothing wrong with that. You have to build. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like wherever you're building, it might not be the best quality, but the more stones you stack up on that house, it's gonna get stronger and stronger. That's the way I look at it. But um long story short, man, I remember like my videos weren't getting all these views and whatnot, but I made this it was like I used to do prank videos. And
Yeah.
one day I had like, bro, I had no, like I didn't have that much money. And I remember my kid, my oldest kid, and he was kind of being a little selfish about something. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've been a good dad, but I've never really shown my kids poverty.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, even though I don't have a lot of money, like we were very poor, but we never showed the kids that we were poor. Like they always, not, they weren't spoiled. We didn't give them everything they wanted, but they were happy with ramen noodles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
if we couldn't have rice and beans, they were cool. Like they were always being fed. You know what I'm saying? So like they didn't know, they lived a happy kid life. But I remember there was this time where my oldest son was being a little bit selfish, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take him to see homelessness. He's never seen homelessness before. And on top of that, I'm gonna take my last $100 that I have in my bank. We're gonna go buy a bunch of shoes, because at that time you could buy shoes for like $8. This is before inflation and stuff, about 10 years ago. But I went to Walmart and I bought like, I think 10 or 11 pairs of shoes. And I'm like, you know what? Your punishment for acting the way you did you and I are going to go to see these homeless people and we're going to give them shoes, because I think that'd make them feel better. You know, a lot of homeless people,
Mhm.
they walk a lot. They in the same shoes, in the same pair of socks for months, sometimes years. No one cares about them. Let's go
It's
give them some
true.
new shoes. Dude, these homeless people were so happy with their little $8 shoes that we gave them. I mean, you could just see how happy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video about it. And I'm going to show my son, like giving him, like, I want to show that kids can be involved in the homeless community and stuff like that. So,
Right.
anyways, that video, I wasn't even expecting it to do anything. Okay. That
Mhm.
video went ultra viral, like ultra. I mean, I went from getting like these like 100 views or whatever. That was my first, like, it got shared on like this site called GodTube. That was like my first blow up ever. That was in maybe 2013,
Oh, okay.
2014 or whatever. And that was kind of the start to, oh, well, hey, I could get views now. And then I started, of course, mixing in pranks like I was doing all before. And then the prank videos, I was doing them with the kids sometimes. We did drive-through pranks. And some of them they wouldn't get millions of views, but they were, I was pulling in like maybe a couple $100 a month. And I thought that was a treat. I'm like, what? You can get paid like having fun making YouTube videos. And at
Yeah.
the time, I had a car payment that was like $200, and I'm like, what? Like, I can make my car payment making videos that I love to do,
Doing
So
something you love and taking care of yourself.
it did. But yeah, I didn't get like any money for like maybe 4 or 5 years at all. Like, it was all, I think I might have had a good 300 videos on YouTube,
Wow.
just having fun and just doing stuff with my kids. And I remember when I was doing the prank videos, there was this guy, and he's just started popping off on YouTube recently. His name is Super Stupid Poop. And
Wow.
he is the funniest freaking guy I've ever met in my life. Go watch some of his videos. He like disappeared for a while. This guy is like probably the most underrated YouTuber I ever met. But this guy had a channel before me in 2009, and it was called Bust a Gut.
Wow.
And he YouTube had this thing that if you didn't have a whole lot of subscribers and you were monetized, if somebody didn't like you, a troll,
Mhm.
those ads that pop up, or they used to pop up a lot. Now they're like commercials, but they used to be like these little like lower third type ads.
Right.
Well, back
Yeah.
in the day, that was YouTube's ad revenue. It was off of those. And if somebody didn't like you, they would click on those ads over and over again, and it would trick the algorithm into thinking, because you get paid for every click. So
Right.
YouTube would get
I remember
notified
this.
of it and make it seem like you were clicking on your own ads.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in those days were losing their channels. I mean, there was some that it was deserved because they were clicking on their own ads. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
This guy had like 20 at that time. He had like 20,000 subscribers. Some hater came along, clicked on all his ads, and he lost he lost all his subscribers, lost all his videos. YouTube banned him. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, if I ever want to make, because I did think to myself, I'm like, hey, like one day I'm gonna work, I'm gonna make videos, and hey, one day I can make this a full-time job. Like or even have a part-time job, like where I'm making actual money that I could
Mhm.
reinvest into cameras, and you know what I mean? So when I saw that happening, I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna wait, because maybe this is an issue on YouTube's part, and I'm not gonna. So I didn't monetize my content for an additional 2 years. I think it was like, yeah, like I
Damn.
said, it was 4 years or so, because I waited. I waited till I had 100,000 subscribers. That was my goal. It's like, when I have 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna turn on ads, and that way I don't have to risk losing my entire channel because one person hated me that much.
Yeah.
So
And by
I've
then they
never I've
kind of
never
figured
shared
out
this
the
before.
little kinks. Oh, hey, we appreciate that
Yeah.
exclusive
Oh,
stuff there,
bro,
man.
you
And
opened me up to like some nostalgic,
it,
good and bad memories. But I mean, I think that was good, because I mean, think about some people that were very talented. I've met some very good creators back in
mhm.
the day that they could have been dominating YouTube right now for their creativeness, but they gave up. They
Yeah.
and it's almost like the stock market. You know what I mean? I don't know if you knew this. You know that Amazon, the Amazon stock, it
Mhm.
almost went to zero and it turned around and went back the other way. And there
Yeah.
was people that sold their stock right before it went because they were scared and they lost a bunch of money. So I mean, it's almost the same thing. Like you only lose if you sell. Same thing with YouTube. Some of these people like they got out and
I
I
see
guess
so many people, bro, on
so
especially from this
creative.
platform over these years. How many people have we seen they throw in the towel because it doesn't happen quick enough? And I mean, you just explained how long it took for you.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
very
you
painful.
had to spend money to make those videos. I mean,
Oh yeah,
gas,
sure.
time, editing. Um, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and then there really wouldn't be much room to eat on the platform because I mean, it's already and I wanted to get into this too, but like,
Mm,
from that era, that moment, that level in the game of YouTube to now, the platforms become very, very saturated. Back then, you had I agree with you on one thing. It is easier now to make it pop. However, back then there wasn't so many people swimming in the same pool. Like I remember even whenever I started doing the paranormal stuff, you had already been doing the paranormal stuff too on YouTube and you really took off with that, man, making great videos and they got out there. But um when around the time that we started, I could probably I'd say there's like less than 50 real dedicated paranormal channels on YouTube. And now
mhm.
there's probably 50 new ones a
There's
day.
so many of them.
You
So
know?
I had this same issue when I was doing prank videos. Of course, there's like a crap ton of prank channels that come up, and then after that, the whole PewDiePie, it's just a prank, bro, meme came out, and like all the prank channels started dying out. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
just finished quitting my hairdressing job because I'm like, I'm gonna go full time in this, and then like my genre literally died overnight. So I
I
was
remember
like,
you
oh
telling me this
shit, like,
story.
oh my god, it was so scary. So it was like, I'm gonna go do dumpster diving videos. They're fun. I've done them on my vlog channel before. People love them. What if I start doing dumpster diving, but maybe having a creative edge to it? I mean, in some of my early dumpster dive videos, there's like a drone shot coming down as I'm like pulling garbage out and like all these
Dude,
cool
I
time
miss those
lapses.
videos. Those videos were
Bro, it's so
so much
fun.
fun. They made
You
us
used to
all
watch
so
those?
happy. Dude, that's how that and the prank videos were how I came across my favorite video today and forever will be you going in a movie theater, going to the garbage can, digging out the popcorn bucket, going to the bathroom, washing it out with soap, and going up to the counter and asking for a refill. You sat there,
It's a
you
life
ate it,
hack, bro.
but at the end of the movie theater, and this is where I was like, dude, what a stand-up fucking guy. You go up to the counter. You could have just walked right out, could have been funny, but no, you were like, hey, listen, this is what I did. Here's the money, and you paid for it.
Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah, I did pay for it. Yeah.
That blew my mind right there because I was thinking, all right, he's gonna leave now, and it was just as funny. But then when you did that, I was like, wow, this came from being a funny video to like teaching people like a really good human lesson. Like, you know what
Oh,
I'm
thanks,
saying?
man. I didn't
Yeah.
even mean for it to be like that. That was kind of like I I didn't even mean to record that, to be honest. I think it was
Wow.
just like the guilt within me. I'm like, hey, I kind of stole their popcorn and I kind of stole their drink for free. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of because if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you go to the movie theater and they give you them extra large cups that they charge you $1 million for. I mean, we pay a lot of money, but the
Yeah.
movies they don't make a lot. They make their money on their concessions. They don't make a lot of money on these
Especially
movies.
nowadays, bro. Like
Yeah,
movie theaters are all but dead. It's so sad, man.
it is sad. So yeah, buy concessions. I mean, like you
Yeah.
can bring some snacks into the movie. I know that the crap's expensive, but you got to think of like the behind the scenes stuff. Like how much
Mhm.
money does it cost them to have their electricity on? How much money is it costing them to purchase these big cinematic films? I mean, they're just
Facts.
that's why that shit's so expensive with the but anyways, you go and you get a large cup of Coke and there's free refills on it. Well, Jody was saying, and this I did in a video, and you're more than welcome to use. You could put that like in this video, and like use it as an overlay as we talk and stuff. Even like some of the videos I do with my kids, but and also with the large popcorn. So I went to the bathroom and it wasn't the bathroom. I think it was in the hallway, and I dug out their old cups that people threw away. And I went to the bathroom and washed it real good and made sure.
You scrubbed
And then
it
I
good.
go, right. So it was a cup that somebody paid for before me, but they didn't take advantage of the free refill. I took advantage of the free refill. So it's technically like a life hack. You go to the movies and hey, don't do that, by the way. As I'm setting a bad example. But I mean, I just wanted to show actually
It was funny, bro.
It was funny.
Funny.
So here was my thing behind that video. I watched this show. I don't know if you there was a show, I think it was on AMC or something. It was called Extreme Cheapskates. And it showed this guy that was a dumpster diver. And he was the cheapest mother humper I've ever seen in my life. Like he would go to the dumpsters and like get like gifts for his girl and stuff out of the dumpster, and she had no idea or whatever. So in one of the shows or the episodes, it showed him going to the movie theater with his girlfriend, and he's like handing her popcorn and drinks, and like she has no fucking clue. Excuse my French.
No,
He got
good.
that shit out of the garbage and got a free refill. And it's like that's how cheap he was, you know. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video to see if that is true. Like, can you actually do this? And you can. It's actually it actually worked. It probably still works. This hasn't been patched yet.
Well, that's funny as can be, dude. Because that truly, I've seen that video 5 or 6 times. I swear. I even the kids like when we go to a theater.
That's one of my favorites too.
Should we pull Omar here? We've never done it. I fully support the movie theaters, but like, bro, that was so cool that you actually went up and paid for it. But the dumpster videos, you said it yourself. You were doing a drone shot of pulling something out of a dumpster. Nobody's doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, like, there's that. You know, again, man, it's gonna circle back.
But that got saturated. Quality. You know, you talking about like the saturation. So the dumpster diving stuff was very, very new to YouTube. And I was like, you know what? Like, okay, this is new. I'm starting it out on my channel. Like, how can I make these videos even better? And I started doing experiments where I would go to GameStop dumpsters and I would take the games that they would throw away and I'd go in the store and sell it back to them. That was a viral video or what. So I was doing like creative stuff like that. And then I would do live streams too. And I remember I'd have like, man, I mean, it was dumpster diving was so new to YouTube that I would have like 10, 20,000 people watching me dig in a dumpster on a live stream. And it was a fad. It was a trend, and it lasted maybe at the most 3 or 4 months. Because what happened, and Mr. B says it best, and I was talking to Al about this too, is a lot of people ask us, hey, what if I start a YouTube channel? Like, what should I do? And how can I be seen? Well, here's the thing. You want to do something that makes you stand out. That's why I did the dumpster dive videos, because no one was doing them. That's why we were doing like I mean, it didn't start out as paranormal. It started out as urban exploring, but it was at nighttime because people were doing urban exploring in the day. So I was like, how can we be different? We'll go at nighttime and it'd be creepier. It'd add some creep factor to it. So it's all about standing out and creating something that no one can really create. But I mean, in all actuality, like, it's so easy to make dumpster dive videos. Everybody's got dumpsters. I mean, everybody. So, I mean, bro, after 3-4 months, there was 1,000 dumpster diving channels. It was insane to the point where I would upload a video and people would be like, when are you going to upload a dumpster diving video, Omar? And I'm like, I just did. Like, are you going to watch it? So, it was getting heavily suppressed on the algorithm. And I'm like, you know what? I need to do some different shit. I need to pick something else. And I mean, that's why it's good to diversify with everything. I mean, it's good to be different, but it's really good to change things up, do trendy stuff. If you notice, one of my biggest idols is Mr. Beast, just on not so much his content, but his business mind and how creative he is. I mean, if you think it, like, the guy is not really, when it comes to like a crazy type of personality, he's very basic. He's a very basic guy, but he's creative. though
Right.
too. I was watching this podcast one night because I'm always like studying the guy because he's the biggest thing to ever hit YouTube, like
Hmm.
literally. And it's like, so what makes him special? Well, I mean, because he didn't start out with having millions of dollars and reinvesting. I mean, this guy if you didn't know, like it's like a whole production in his videos where millions of dollars go into like almost every video. But if you watch his early videos where he was growing, he's also kind of like me, where it took him a long time to grow. But if
Hmm.
you watch his videos that were starting to blow up, he had this one video where it was like saying Logan Paul
Yeah,
a
I was gonna
million
say.
times
Yep.
or 100,000 times, and he's literally there, bro. He
It's
uploaded
funny,
a
bro.
video, and it's actually really funny. He was there for 24 hours saying Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, Logan Paul, and then he did PewDiePie, PewDiePie, and it was like, who the fuck is gonna do that? So I mean, it's if you want to get some content out that is very unique and it stands out, you have to create content that's not available, that is very hard to duplicate. And that was his words. It's like,
Right.
okay, so how do you grow on YouTube? And especially now, because there's a lot of channels and stuff, you have to create something that is hard to duplicate.
You're absolutely right. And the only problem is, man, is when you do, you got a 3-month window. There's going to be a million other people doing it because people just jump
Exactly.
on the trends, and it becomes a trend. When you make something pop, it becomes a trend, and
Yep.
everybody else is going to
Yep.
be doing it. And it's one of the gifts and it's one of the curses, because
It
a lot
is.
of people out there are just trend channels. They're only ever going to grow if there's trends.
If there's a
And
trend, but there's always going
yeah,
to be a trend. I mean, think about it. When
there
you go
is.
to Taco
Yeah.
Bell, there's always this new taco that they have. They got like the cantina, and then they got like the nacho fries. There's always like this new trend at Taco Bell. They're very good. Taco Bell, like
Right.
I very rarely eat Taco Bell, but when I do go, I'm like, bro, these mother humpers know how to market. They have
Yeah.
something that's always new and exciting, and it works. So I
Right.
mean, that it all kind of comes down to that, is, it's, you have to market yourself with just, there's always going to be trends. That's, I think that's, as a growing creator, it is good to kind of do trends. And one of my biggest downfalls is not kind of doing trends and sticking within a genre
Bro, you
that
started one. You started one of the biggest ones that ever hit
yeah,
YouTube. And I don't know
I
if
did. Yep.
I don't know how many people
People don't
know
know
this
that.
or give you
No.
credit for it, but the whole 3 a.m. challenge thing,
Yeah,
you did it.
that was our thing. Yep.
Your
Mhm.
thing went crazy. And I mean, you
You know what?
can't name a paranormal channel that hasn't done it. So,
I'm gonna tell you a secret, bro, that I've never told anyone, on how that 3 a.m. challenge came. And it was actually out of laziness. I'm gonna be honest with you. So there was this trend back in the day, where people were going and spending the night at Lowe's or Home
mhm,
Depot, and it was called the 24-hour overnight challenge,
I
where they
remember
would
that.
wait for the store to close, and they would stay there after hours. They would stay in like a mall. And Jake Station,
Mhm.
he was actually doing this in Canada, where he would stay at like a bowling alley, and he was really doing it. The guy was crazy, but he
Yeah.
was blowing up on YouTube doing this. It was a crazy trend. So Mo and we were already kind of doing like urban exploring videos and just doing vlogs and just having fun, doing a lot of pranks. His channel used to be called Dirt Star Pranks. A lot of people don't know that, but it was kind of embarrassing, just like my pranks were kind of embarrassing. But so we were like, you know what? We're grown ass men. We can't be caught like at Lowe's in the middle of the night and get arrested the next day. Like, we got families. Like, I'm not doing that. So how do we still incorporate this 24-hour overnight challenge into a way where it's gonna accommodate this trend but still be different?
Mhm.
And that's when we started spending the night at abandoned places, and that's what we would do. We would go somewhere abandoned and spend the night. And I mean, abandoned stuff, I mean, I would much rather get caught at an abandoned place than get caught at like the mall that you're
You
not
damn
supposed to
right.
be in, when the doors close at like
Absolutely.
8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So I
You're
mean,
talking the news, the newspaper, everybody then.
oh
They're all
yeah.
gonna know.
So we were doing that, and urban exploring at the time was it wasn't very popular. It wasn't like what it is now, where people will go places and destroy things. It was just,
Mhm.
you could actually go and like trespass. If the cops see you there, they'll just be like, all right, just get out of here, move it along. Now they'll arrest you, put handcuffs on you, because they assume that you're breaking windows and graffiti the walls and doing like that.
I
You're literally
understand.
just there with cameras.
Yeah.
So it started out doing that, where we took the overnight challenge, and we got kind of tired of spending the night at these places. We were like, bro, I don't want to be here for like 8 hours, like overnight. You know what I mean? It's the overnight challenge. You know what? Why don't we like do something a little bit different? I mean, people are already liking the overnight challenge because we're at these creepy places, and like we were going to abandoned prisons, and it wasn't. We were never paranormal like investigators. Like we never had like any paranormal gear. Like we would just go into creepy places, and sometimes they'd be haunted. Sometimes it was just a scary looking place in the middle of the night.
Right.
But we got, not that we got lazy, but we just got tired. I mean, it was being at a place completely overnight is like that's exhausting, especially if it's far from
Absolutely.
home and stuff. So we were like, you know what? Let's start our own trend. We're gonna call it the 3 a.m. challenge, because people love these creepy videos of us at a place in the middle of the night. We can literally just give them what they want, and it's in the middle of the night, and it's the 3 a.m. challenge. And we would
Right.
actually legit go to these places at 3 a.m. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, bro, we called it out. We did a live stream. I remember it was me, Mo, and James, and we were at the cemetery in Louisiana. It was in New Orleans. And we're like, bro, we're gonna do something that's totally different, never been done before. We're doing the first ever YouTube 3 a.m. challenge, bro. This 3 a.m. things that did not exist. I mean,
Yeah.
then people started using that name when it started blowing up. They started using that name, and I think J Station was doing like 3 a.m.
His whole channel, his whole
Yeah,
channel
everything
became
is
3 a.m. and
guava juice. Like
yeah,
everybody was, but it was
Sam and
like things
Colby.
in their house. Like everybody was doing the 3 a.m. thing. And I've even told some creators before. I'm like, hey, you know that me and my friend Mo, we literally created the trend 3 a.m. And they're like, nah. I'm like, bro, look back, look
Yeah,
back at our videos that were starting to. We literally created that trend,
the
but
first on
it
YouTube.
was
Yeah.
as an accident, because we were like, I mean, don't get it twisted. We still work hard, but we were kind of like, hey, why do we have to spend the entire night here for the overnight challenge? Let's do a 3 a.m. challenge, and
Yeah. Well,
we'll
1
go
hour in a
somewhere
creepy
creepy.
place is just as creepy as staying there overnight, especially
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. because there is something significant with the number, and even
It
if it's
was.
a energy or hysteria that it causes in people, it does affect people's energy whenever they hear 3 a.m. They get scared.
Uh-huh. So yeah, and then from then on, it just kind of took off, and then people were starting to ask us. They were like, "Hey, like, why don't you go to the Queen Mary?" And we didn't know, Ghost Adventures. Obviously, they're like one of the most popular paranormal. Bro,
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never been a fan of like paranormal shows. Like, it's like I didn't watch that shit. I didn't even have time to watch TV as it is. Like you work crazy hours. I was working a full-time job and doing YouTube videos at the same time. So he's like, TV, what is that? So I mean, I didn't know what Ghost Adventures was, but I remember when we were doing these 3 a.m. challenges, and then we would go places and people be like, yo, like, you seen something in the window right there. And then I linked up with some paranormal investigators and started incorporating them using a spirit box. And I remember linking up with you at one time, and I'm like, oh, what's
Yeah.
that? Like, so that's kind of like the evolution of doing paranormal stuff. And it uh, it was not boring. Like, it was fun to watch, it was entertaining. And at that time, bro, there was no paranormal content on YouTube
Right.
whatsoever. And I don't care what anybody says. I know there's a lot of paranormal channels that obviously hate me and hate my friend Mo and hate my friend Jody, and just they hate everybody. Bro, the paranormal genre in general, like the people that are real serious about paranormal, like they're actually kind of toxic, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, and I didn't realize that, and that's why I never wanted to say that I was a, like I still don't know. Like, I know what some stuff is in the paranormal field, but like I'm not an investigator, bro. I just like going and filming and documenting some and telling the story of a place, sharing the history of a place. But man, some of these people, oh, I don't like that device that he uses. That device, because he uses that device, he's fake, and that just ruined. I mean, it's just like, bro, these paranormal groups, they literally just attack each other over and
Yeah,
over
it's a
again.
pretty sick
And
thing.
like I remember when my channel was really popping off, bro, and it was doing really good, these paranormal channels would come out of nowhere, just start their
Mhm.
channel, and they'd be like, "Oh, Omar went to the Queen Mary. I'm gonna go to the Queen Mary." And then they get mad that they didn't get a million views on their video because I got a million views on my video. And they're automatically saying, oh, it's because his channel's fake. It's because he fakes all of his content. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I look, don't get it twisted, bro. I do have some like I got this video. I mean, it's like obviously a skit, you know what I mean? Where I have this mannequin. It was like a one-man hide and seek
Mhm.
challenge, and it's a skit. And
Right.
people are like, "Oh, bro, this is the fakest thing." Like, bro, it's a movie. Like, what are you talking about? But I mean, like, automatically, people are just like, especially these paranormal investigators, they get kind of they just get a little saucy with you, and just because maybe, and I mean, I don't think they realize that we kind of brought viewers that weren't even interested in the paranormal. Like we brought them to
Yeah.
YouTube and created a space. We created like a genre that didn't even exist. Paranormal didn't exist on YouTube. There was no, and I think that's why it did so well. But then you have all these channels now popping up, and they're going to the Queen Mary, and they're going to this place. They're going all to the same place, and it's just, and a lot of them are good. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
really good paranormal channels out there that they have all these crazy cinematics and they work their asses off. You know what I mean? But like it's the toxicity that really gets to me where
It's one
they're
of the
just,
most toxic platforms you can I mean, it's one of the
oh
most toxic
man.
genres you can be in, for sure,
Not the
and
fans. It's not
no,
nothing to
no,
do with the fan.
supporters
It's
are great,
it's
but
it's more like a lot of the creators and a lot of groups.
it's yeah, I mean, the fact that anybody cares what somebody else is doing and is not worried about what they're doing in this day and age with so many
Like,
things
who
going on is
cares?
just mind-blowing. Here's the thing. You said a lot there. You were going to the Queen Mary. You're going to asylums. You're going to prisons. You're going to abandoned places, risking your life. You're making the
Costs money
video.
too.
It costs money to
Mhm.
make money. You spent money to make these videos. You put a lot of effort into making them look great, and then you give them to the world for free. And then people are going to bitch and say that you do this and that. That's been one of the biggest things on the platform that discourages people that are trying
Mhm.
to get to where you are.
You
And
gotta
in
have
some
some tough
cases,
skin, man. Like Jody knows. Like you
oh, for
literally, you have to
sure,
be
bro.
mentally tough.
Dude, the more people, I've often said, I don't know if anybody's had it worse than me, but I honestly can say that like that
No.
made me want to work fucking harder, bro. Like them people, those some of those same people like you're mentioning, creators or people in the space, whatever, they don't realize I would never be where I am or done what I've done if it wasn't for them. Because I'm one of those people, like when you tell me I
Mhm.
can't do something or I'm gonna fail, like,
Oh,
bro, you light a fire that you just can't get anywhere else. And actually, they've done me a favor. That's why I don't even hate them. Like I pray for them. But what I
yeah.
do hate is not everybody can take it like me. And I hate
Mhm.
to see we're constantly hearing people, man, they're committing suicide because they're bullied. I can see it because if I wasn't as strong-minded and like I can see a comment and I'm like, yeah, so what? I'm like that about it. Somebody else will see it, man, and they're in a
It'll ruin their
3-week
whole
dark
day.
depression.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah.
I hate that for the world, especially because it seems like this social media thing is it's kind of becoming like the norm. Like you're going to possibly grow up and be a social media influencer, son. Like it's that big now to where it's
It is
like,
big, yeah.
oh, you're into something. Guess what? You can make money doing that, and you don't, and you can be your own boss.
Yeah. It's become a career too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I've talked to some teachers where they're like, hey, can you come speak at my school? And because there's a lot of kids that they say, hey, I want to be a social media influencer when I grow up. I mean, like, well,
Yeah.
that's not the stuff that we would talk about when we were kids. Like, we wanted to grow up. We wanted, I want to be an attorney, a doctor. I want to,
I wanted to be a garbage man, bro. Like I remember
be
my
a
teacher
garbage man.
asking me that, and I was like, I want to be a garbage man. Everybody looked at me funny. I didn't understand why, because my grandma would be like, they make good benefits. And I'm like, oh shit, you get benefits. Like
Bro, that's funny. I thought maybe it's because you like the garbage trucks. I love like the garbage trucks.
the
They're cool looking.
freedom of riding on the back of a truck. Well, back then it's like what options were there? You just said it: doctor, lawyer, police
There wasn't no
officer. It was
social
like
media. It's nothing like
I
that.
didn't want to be what everybody else wanted to be, and ultimately that's what ended up happening. But this was not a job choice we had back then, bro.
No,
We're
it's so
very
cool.
lucky.
And you know what? Like anybody can do it,
Yeah.
but it does take hard work. And listen, Jody's a very humble guy. There is nobody that I've ever met in my life that works as hard as this guy right here.
Oh man,
I think it's a
dude,
very close tie between him and Mo, because Mo is another really hard worker. Like these guys,
that
they
means a
don't
lot, bro.
fucking sleep. I mean, I work really hard. There's sometimes where I don't sleep, but these guys will run circles around me. Like
Oh,
this guy was running a mansion, a haunted mansion, creating content every day, like just being a dad, like just working his tail off. I don't even know how. Like, bro, do you even sleep? Like,
yeah. Listen, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I'll be it for real. This guy's
You've
a
always,
grinder.
you've always said that, and a lot of people tell me that. But
It's real.
bro, I like you, man. I love what I do, and I think that we're in the most unique space. We're in an era, bro, where the most unique opportunities are surrounding us,
Hmm.
and us mastering them opens up the doors for possibly our children. I mean, your kids have dabbled in social media, and Max, I mean, at
Hmm.
one point there, bro, holy shit,
Dude,
like he looked like he
he
was getting
actually
ready to
has
just
no,
blow
he
up.
actually has a full blown channel that he's blowing up on right now. And the
Dude, I
crazy
didn't
thing
know
is,
that, but years ago he had
oh,
a
dude,
big blow up, bro.
yeah,
You remember what I'm
he
talking
did,
about?
and he gave it up, and he very heavily regretted that. But he almost kind of felt like he cheated, because he was like, you know what, like I was in my dad's shadow and I got all these subscribers, and it really wasn't that. He had a good personality, and like these little girls loved him, and that's why he was getting a lot of subscribers at the time. I mean, and we were pioneering a new genre on YouTube, and he was a part of that.
Right.
So bro, he got like 100,000 subscribers in like a week. It was insane. But he did a lot of that on his own. But he kind of felt, I did that because it was because of my dad's, and I want to do something without my dad and say that I did it on my own. And he did that, bro. He's got a channel right now. It's where he does theories on like SpongeBob, and he doesn't even show his face or anything. And he blew up on YouTube. And I've
That is
never given
awesome,
him a
bro.
shout out. Actually, he refuses. Like he told me, Dad, please don't even comment on my videos. Like he won't let me. I'll secretly watch him because I'm like, bro, this is actually really good. I think it's just called Max Escobar. But yeah, bro, very creative. He's my
That's
my one
amazing.
kid that got my creative gene. And my daughter got more of like my business mind, because I dabble with real estate and like stocks, and always like been, I was that kid that was always selling candy at school, and
Yeah.
just trying to like
Same.
do a little like side hustle. Bro, me and you are the same person. I mean, you work a lot harder than I do, but we're the same guy, man.
Dude, yeah, that's from day one. I was like, wow, that's crazy how much we had in common, and we were so close, and who would have known? But and that's how we hit it off. But I mean, one thing we've both talked about a bunch, hanging out or being on film trips, whatever the case may be, is the freedom that being
Mm.
a social media influencer, content creator gives you. You can work on your own watch. You have nobody to answer to. I mean, you got to follow some guidelines, right? But there's nothing like this. Um,
It's amazing, but it does come, like, if you want to be successful. I mean, just like I told you, my boy works his ass off. It does
yeah,
come with responsibility as well. I mean, you're obviously not going to grow if you're sleeping all the time and being complacent and like, oh, I'll do that next week and I'll
Yeah.
just do that another time. Like you literally you have to you have to work hard. But I mean, it does come with its perks, man. Like just being able to go on a trip, like a filming trip and travel, being able to, I mean, you could still, like, if you really wanted to, hey, tomorrow I want to take the kids to Walt Disney World. You know what I mean? You could, if you could have more of that freedom, versus when I was a hairdresser, you're just stuck in one place that you have
Yeah.
to go. I mean, we all have a lot of us have regular jobs. I think COVID kind of broke that, where you can kind of work from home and do that. But like, it sucked, like just being stuck and confined in a place that I had to work there for 10 years in just that one place. So I mean, it is nice to be able to, hey, I could go work in New York if I want tomorrow and still work.
Right.
I could go work over here. And
That's one of the
so I mean,
coolest things,
it's
man.
so awesome, man. We are very blessed.
Yeah.
That is one of the cool perks about that.
All right, guys, so this is actually part one of this interview. We ended up talking for over 2 hours. So much good, juicy stuff still to come. Make sure you're subscribed, your notifications are on, you're liking, commenting, sharing, all that great stuff. We dive into some deeper territories. We talk about our feelings, things we've done, things we'll do, and just a lot of good nuggets of inspiration still to come. So if you haven't subscribed to Omar Gosh TV, go ahead and do that. I'm sure you already have, but if for some reason you've been sleeping under the bed and you've missed it, a guy makes amazing content. And he truly is a good guy surrounded by a lot of good people, and that's why I'm intertwined with him. I love you guys so much. We'll see you in a few days, but until then, sweet nightmares.